Hello, you, the one who's listening with your heart. If you're an Aries, or if you carry that first spark of fire within you, then this October won't feel like any other month before. This isn't a forecast, it's a call from the universe, a gentle but undeniable reminder that you can't keep living the way you used to. Change is coming, but this time it's not coming from the outside. It begins with a truth inside you, one you can no longer ignore. A whisper, quiet but deep, is rising from within. And when you pause, even for a moment, in the hush of early autumn winds, you'll feel it because October unfolds like a mirror, reflecting the soul of the Aries warrior. October doesn't rush in like a fierce wind. It arrives gently, softly, almost without words, and yet you feel it, somehow in your chest, in the way the morning light begins to shift, in the delicate breath of leaves just starting to fall. For Aries, autumn has never just been about shedding leaves. It's a mirror held up to that inner landscape you rarely stop to see, because you're used to moving, used to fighting, leading, taking action, staying in control, so used to it that you sometimes forget true strength isn't measured by how fast you run, but by how deeply you're willing to meet yourself. This October, life doesn't ask you to do more. It invites you to be more present, and that for a soul born to move might be the hardest thing. When the world around you slows down, when conversations fade into silence, and you have no choice but to hear your own voice, what rises up? Is it a loneliness hidden beneath all the busyness? Old questions you've buried with the words "not now," or maybe a quiet pull telling you it's time to look back, not to blame but to understand. Autumn always has a way of bringing us home, not with fireworks, not with grand gestures, but through small things: a colder than usual morning, a forgotten jacket pulled from the closet, an old song that makes you stop mid-task and listen all the way through. And suddenly you realize your inner world is changing too. You begin to ask, what am I still holding onto just because I'm afraid to let go? What relationship am I forcing just because I fear starting over? Am I walking this path out of passion or out of habit? For Aries, these questions are not easy. You're built to push through, not to pause. But trust me, this month doesn't come to weaken you. It comes to return a piece of your soul. The part you left behind while running too fast for too long. I've met so many Aries in my life. Fierce, brave, bright as fire, but behind that flame, I often see a quiet kind of loneliness, a tenderness no one notices. You take care of others, you lead, you hold it all up, you fight for what's right. But in all of that, who holds you? You can be the fire that lights the way for others, but you also deserve to be kept warm. October is your invitation to sit beside your own flame, not to burn harder, but to heal, to soften, to remember what once brought you joy, before the world asked you to carry so much. If you've been struggling to sleep lately, if emotions feel closer to the surface, if little things move you more than usual, that's not weakness, that's your soul opening again. After years of being buried beneath pressure, expectations, and masks of strength, this is the moment to ask, what truly nourishes me? Who lets me be myself without trying? What do I do each day that makes me feel alive, not just get by? And if you don't have the answer yet, that's okay. This month isn't here to rush you. It's here to help you ask better questions, to place your hand on your heart, and finally admit, I've come so far, but now I want to go deeper. And when you do that, a quiet shift begins. You won't react the same. You'll notice the stillness between conversations. You'll feel things falling away like leaves, and you won't be afraid, because sometimes letting go isn't loss. Letting go is the brave act of a soul ready to enter a new chapter. This autumn, if I could say only one thing to you, Aries, it would be this. You don't have to keep holding it all together. You don't have to prove anything anymore. You just have to be honest with yourself. And from that honesty, a new kind of power will rise, not loud, not burning, but steady, deep, and unshakable. And perhaps from that quiet space within, a deeper truth will begin to emerge. At some point in life, each of us stands before a door, and behind that door is something we've never seen before. No map, no guarantee, no promise of safety. Only one thing is clear: you can't go back. And this October, Aries, feels like that kind of moment. A thin but powerful line between who you've been and who you're becoming, between what once made you feel safe and what's now quietly suffocating your spirit. You'll feel it in the stillest moments, that something is losing its meaning. A job that once made you excited now just feels like routine. A relationship that used to feel like home has become a quiet weight in your heart, and a version of yourself, strong, rational, brave, is now quietly trembling inside, not because you're weak, but because you're tired. I used to believe that freedom meant doing whatever I wanted, but after years of listening to the stories of thousands of souls, I've come to understand this. True freedom doesn't come from control. It comes from the courage to let go. Let go of what no longer nourishes you. Let go of the role that no longer feels like you. Let go of the old belief. You have to fight to be worthy of love. And the strange thing is, when you let go, you don't lose anything. You actually begin to receive. This month won't ask, "What do you want?" It will whisper, "What are you finally ready to walk away from?" That question, so quiet, could change your entire life. Because life doesn't change when you achieve more, or know more, or master more. It changes when you choose to believe in a different truth. So if today you had the chance to walk away from just one thing, a fear, a lie you keep telling yourself, a cycle that keeps repeating, what would it be? You don't have to say it out loud. You just have to admit it to yourself. Look gently into that deepest part of you and nod. It's time. I believe in you, Aries. You're stronger than you think. And that strength isn't in how much you push through, but in how honest you're willing to be with your heart. No one but you can know what's real. But when you choose truth, even if it makes you cry, those tears will wash away everything that no longer belongs to you. This month, you don't need to act quickly. You just need to be honest with yourself, with your past, and with that one dream, the one you buried long ago because you were afraid they'd laugh. Things will fall away like the leaves outside your window, and you'll stand there not empty, but light, because you finally chose yourself. And then, as you stand on the edge of that sacred shift, love will arrive, not as a rescue, but as a mirror, reflecting your soul. Love doesn't always arrive with sparkling lights or the perfect background music. Sometimes it shows up in silence, so quiet that you're not even sure it's love until your heart speaks. Aries, this October won't bring you a fairy tale romance, but it offers something far more valuable, a chance to see the true nature of the relationships currently in your life. No more pretty words, no more pretending, just the truth, and the truth in love isn't always easy to hear. Sometimes it's just a look that no longer feels full, a hug that lacks warmth, a conversation where it feels like you're just talking to yourself. But other times the truth arrives in the opposite form. A hand that holds yours at the exact moment you need it. A quiet sentence that touches something deep inside. Someone who never makes big promises, but always shows up when it matters most. You know, there's something special about souls like Aries. You love fiercely. You love with all your courage, with your protective instincts, with a heart that's always ready to burn for someone else. But because of that, you get hurt deeply too. Because not everyone can see past your strength to the softness beneath it, the part of you that's so tender, so easily broken. And so you've learned to hide. You hide sadness inside laughter. You hide loneliness in your busy days. You hide your heart behind the words, "I'm fine." But this October, the universe won't let you keep doing that, because you weren't made to love through endurance. You were meant to be loved through presence, loved for your full self, flaws and all. You deserve love that doesn't ask you to hold it all together. You deserve to be heard without needing to raise your voice. You deserve a relationship that doesn't make you question your worth every time you walk away from a conversation. So if you're in a relationship right now, ask yourself, am I being loved or just holding on? And if you're single, whisper to yourself, am I avoiding love or waiting for someone who truly sees me? Sometimes a relationship doesn't hurt you, but it also doesn't help you grow. And that is the most dangerous kind. The quiet, false calm that makes you forget what real connection feels like. Maybe you're done with loving in ways that cost you your truth. You've done that before, sacrificed, stayed silent, kept the peace while your heart begged to speak. But you were never meant to stay quiet forever. You are a soul, worthy of being understood, of being heard, of laughing and crying freely without apology. And if right now there's a big question in your heart about love, don't be afraid to share it. Write it down, say it out loud, so you remember you are not alone. So someone else listening to this right now feels connected to your heart through the truth you dare to speak. Because when we speak the truth of what we feel, we clear the path for real love to walk in. I can't promise love will be smooth this month, but I do believe it will be real, and real love might hurt a little, but it can also save you from a dream that was never truly yours. And if you're brave enough to open your heart, love in October won't just be a feeling. It'll be a mirror, reflecting your soul back to you. You'll finally see who truly loves you and who only loves the feeling of having you around. You'll hear who listens to your heart and who just wants your silence. And more than anything, you'll know whether you still truly love yourself. And when the heart has been honest, the path of career and purpose will also ask for a truth of its own. At some point in every career, there comes a time when the old path no longer leads to where you want to go. It still works. The income is there. The recognition is there, but it no longer makes your heart race. It no longer wakes you up in the morning with bright eyes and a burning soul. And this October, Aries, it's time to be honest about that. Not because you did something wrong, but because you've grown. And the path that once felt like passion now feels like a well-worn routine. Maybe you've achieved what others admire. Maybe you're in a safe, respected position. But ask yourself, are you truly living? Or just repeating days that slowly disconnect you from who you really are? I've witnessed so many Aries reach new heights, not because they were reckless, but because they listened to the voice of their soul. They understood that being busy doesn't always mean you're moving forward, that making money doesn't always mean you're aligned with your purpose. And they had the courage to stop, look within, and ask the most important question: am I doing what I'm good at or what truly makes me feel alive? This month, the universe isn't placing you in random situations. Every meeting, every invitation, every so-called coincidence is a signal. An old friend suddenly suggests a new project. An idea you once had reappears in your dreams. A job opportunity makes your heart beat faster than usual. Don't ignore it. That's not coincidence. That's a door opening. I know stepping out of your comfort zone is not easy, especially when you've spent years building it. But remember, your career is meant to serve your soul's mission, not trap you in a golden cage of meaningless motion. You might not need to start all over, but you do need to choose again what really matters now. You can't do it all. You shouldn't do it all. Ask yourself, what's scattering your energy? What's draining you without truly adding value? Sometimes, success doesn't come from doing more. It comes from choosing one thing that matters and pouring your full fire into it. And when your energy aligns with the right place, money will follow, not all at once, but steadily, sustainably, and meaningfully. You'll feel the shift. Work won't feel like a must anymore, but a flow that lets you live in your element. Financially, October also brings a reminder: stay grounded. Opportunities might show up for investments, partnerships, new income streams, but don't rush. Aries is brilliant at catching momentum, but also prone to chasing sparks that fade too quickly. Listen to both your heart and your mind. If something excites you and gives you peace, it's likely aligned. But if it only excites you without deeper roots, pause. Real abundance doesn't come from impulsive choices. It comes from alignment with your true values. And most importantly, don't define your worth by the money you make. I know, this world confuses that too easily, but you are not your bank account. You are light. You are inspiration. You are presence, something no one else can replicate. Whether you're making $100 or $10,000 a month, what you give from your heart, that's what the world truly needs. Remember, sometimes doing less with more love and purpose creates far more impact. The universe doesn't measure results in output, but in energy. October is the time to bring that truth back to your center. If you feel lost right now, that's okay. Confusion is often the first sign that change is near. Don't fight it. Don't run back to safety. Sit with it. Breathe. Write down what makes your heart feel warm again, and take one small step. Just one, but make it a step in the right direction. Because on the other side of fear is a version of you more alive, more radiant, and more free. And to keep that fire burning strong, you'll need a body and spirit that can carry it all the way. Sometimes you don't realize how exhausted you are until one morning you wake up and there's no spark left in your body or your soul. You still go through the motions, making coffee, checking your phone, chasing the to-do list, but something inside feels like it quietly slipped away. This isn't just physical fatigue, it's emptiness from within. Aries, you were born under the sign of action, beginnings, and fire. You carry a sacred urgency to move, to lead, to stay strong. But here's what no one really tells you: even fire needs tending. When it's forced to burn endlessly, it doesn't shine brighter, it consumes itself. October is the sacred pause the universe offers you, a time to return, to take care of you, not because you're weak, but because you've gone too far, given too much, and now it's time to come back to something most warriors rarely allow themselves: rest. Imagine yourself climbing a mountain. You've climbed high, you've pushed through storms, but now your legs are trembling, not because you're failing, but because it's time to stop, to look around, to breathe, to remember you're alive, and maybe to quietly study the map again, to ask if this is still the direction your soul longs for. Aries, you don't need to run faster. You need to pause long enough to feel your heart beating in rhythm again. Early in the month, you may feel vague, scattered, like your energy is dissolving into thin air. You might get irritated more easily, feel a bit invisible in a world that keeps spinning. But you're not invisible. You're just wrapped in a layer of tiredness you haven't named yet, so begin small. A morning without checking your phone, an afternoon walk with no destination, a wordless song, a slow drink of water, a notebook to write down what you've been burying. These aren't luxuries, they are medicine, and by mid-month, your energy starts to return, not like a wildfire, but as a steady warmth. You'll want to move again, to create, to rearrange your space, to nourish your body with real food. Don't ignore it. Let yourself be reborn bit by bit. But remember balance. You are someone who loves deeply and throws your whole self into things, which also means you burn out easily if you're not careful. So when that spark returns, don't throw yourself into the same old rhythm. Ask yourself, am I doing this because I love it or because I'm afraid of being left behind? As the month closes, a soft, honest question will rise. Have you truly cared for yourself lately? It may show up as a restless night, a minor cold, or just that tight feeling in your chest after a long day. Don't brush it off. This isn't weakness. This is your body, your soul, asking to be heard. Aries, you are light, but real light doesn't always blaze. Sometimes it glows from stillness. When you are healthy, when you are whole, your light spreads effortlessly. You walk into a room and everything softens. You hold someone and they begin to heal. That kind of light only comes from caring for yourself first. And if this month brings you to tears, let them fall. If you want to sit alone, allow it. If you long for someone to hold you, be brave enough to ask. Because in those moments that seem like weakness, you reclaim your truest strength. And as you begin to truly listen within, you'll notice the universe whispering back through the tiniest details that only a heart wide awake can feel. There's a truth that most grown-ups forget. The universe has never stopped speaking to us. It's just that its voice doesn't sound like ours. It doesn't blast through loudspeakers, doesn't arrive in emails, and never shows up in the urgent notifications of daily life. The universe whispers, softly, patiently, with grace. And this October, Aries, you'll begin to feel it if you slow down enough, quiet down enough, and dare to search not with your eyes, but with your heart. A dream repeats itself and startles you awake. A symbol shows up over and over again. An old song plays, right when your heart is in chaos. A stranger says exactly what you needed to hear. None of it is random. I once heard someone say, I don't believe in coincidences anymore. I believe in the subtle intervention of a greater intelligence. And deep down, I think you felt that too, maybe once, maybe many times, when you stood at a crossroads and no one gave you the answer, but something small happened and you just knew. You couldn't explain it, but you knew. And you also knew, if you ignored that feeling, you'd regret it. Maybe not right away, but someday when you looked back, you'd whisper to yourself, I knew I should have trusted that. Aries is the soul of action, but this month, your actions must begin with listening, not to others, but to yourself. You're receiving signs whether you notice them or not. And these signs aren't small. They are invitations, messages from the universe, reminding you you're not walking alone. And you don't have to carry every decision on logic alone. So ask yourself, what's been repeating lately? A number, a phrase, a dream, a question that no one answers, but keeps circling your mind. Don't ignore it. Don't brush it off with it's just a coincidence. Because the universe never repeats a message without reason. It repeats because you matter that much. It repeats so you won't miss it. I once met an Aries woman who lived her whole life inside the lines until her mother passed away. And then the dreams began. Every week the same dream. A garden, a stone bench, and her mother whispering, "You're slowing down." She began to notice. She started writing them down, following the dreams, listening. 3 months later, she quit her job and opened a meditation center for the elderly. That dream, it was her compass, one no career coach could ever provide. And I wonder how many others are dreaming too, hearing, sensing, receiving, but too busy, too logical, too afraid to change. And so they miss the key that opens the next chapter of their life. The strong aren't the ones who always know the way. The strong are the ones who stop when their heart says, this path isn't right anymore. So Aries, if there's one thing I ask you to do this October, it's this. Write down everything that makes you feel. There's something about this. Don't wait for certainty, trust the feeling. Because sometimes, a feeling is the clearest message your soul can send. And if lately you've experienced a strange coincidence, a flash of memory, a moment that stopped you mid-step, I invite you to share it right now in the comments, because maybe what you share is the missing piece someone else has been praying for. That's how we connect soul to soul, through the invisible threads of resonance. The universe always reaches for us in the smallest details, but only the awake can truly see. And you, Aries, you are one of the few brave enough to see it, and when all the signals align, you'll understand this. This is the month of a choice that cannot be undone. Sometimes, life brings us to a silent crossroads, no red lights, no alarms, just an ordinary morning. You wake up and realize you simply can't keep living the same way anymore. Not because you're weak, but because you've been strong for far too long, strong enough to stay silent, strong enough to hold it all together, even when your heart was quietly breaking. Aries, this October doesn't ask what you want, it asks something deeper. Are you still brave enough to live in your truth? Even if that truth makes you cry, even if that truth means walking away, even if it means once again standing alone. I believe there's a sacred reason why your soul was born carrying fire. You weren't sent here just to survive. You came to break patterns, to walk out of the boxes your ancestors, society, or even your fears tried to place you in. You came here to be a living reminder that change is possible, that turning the wheel is possible, that beginning again, even after everything falls apart, is still possible. This month, you'll face a decision that cannot wait, not because someone's forcing it, but because your soul can no longer carry half-truths. You can't stay in a job just because it's familiar. You can't stay in a relationship just because you're afraid to be alone. You can't keep pretending you're okay just so everyone else can feel safe. I won't lie, this decision won't be easy, but I believe this. Truth is the only foundation strong enough to build a life worth living. Everything else, even the beautiful things, if built on denial, will crack eventually. And you know that. You've fought for so many people. You've stood up for justice, for what's right, for the ones you love. But when was the last time you fought for yourself? When was the last time you gave yourself permission to dream again, to love again, to start over without asking anyone's approval? This month, Aries, you don't need a perfect plan. You just need one honest moment. One nod to yourself in the mirror when you look into your own eyes and whisper, I've known the truth for a while, and now it's time to live it. Maybe it's a truth you've been avoiding all year, that this job no longer fits, that this person doesn't love you the same, that you've been trading too much of yourself just to be accepted, that you're living a life that dims your light more and more each day. You don't need to scream. You just need to place a hand on your heart, close your eyes, and say softly, enough. And in that moment, a part of you will begin to heal, not because someone came to save you, but because you finally chose you. I won't promise the path will be easy, but I promise you this, it will be real, and truth, even when rough, even when it cuts, is always the road that leads you home. If your heart has gone quiet while hearing these words, that's not a coincidence. That's the bell calling you back to yourself. That's the whisper from the universe saying, it's time. It doesn't matter how old you are, how many times you've fallen, how much you've lost. October is the open door, not for you to just keep going, but for you to walk forward fully awake. And when you finally choose truth, the only thing left to do is to give thanks and keep walking. Thank you for listening, not just with your ears, but with your heart, with old memories, with dreams once interrupted, with the tender, tangled strength within you. If you've journeyed with me this far, I believe there's a story inside you no one has ever fully seen. And maybe October didn't come to finish anything, but to open a door to a truer version of you. I don't know where you are in the world, what you're going through, or what silent battles you're fighting in your soul. But I do know this, you are not alone. Even if you're in the darkest night of your spirit, the fire is still there, quiet, steady, waiting for you to remember you are worthy of beginning again. Aries was never born to surrender. You are the symbol of the first light, the one who walks first, even when no one is walking with you. The one who takes the wound so others can follow safely. But this time, let that path be for you. Choose yourself, love yourself, protect the truth within you just as fiercely as you've protected the world around you. I hope you step into October, not just as someone strong, but as someone brave enough to let go and faithful enough to begin again, like the primal flame that lives in every true Aries heart. From my heart to yours, may this month bring you home to yourself.